The film starts off evolved with a female on a snowboarding experience, hoping for the maximum predicted freedom from an annoying nightmare. As they tour the snow-included horizon in Austria, an older guy attempts to shield and accompany her to the toilet. The older guy guarantees that no person is inside the toilet, in order that the female will now no longer have a risk to talk with different people. A few moments whilst the female is taking a leak, a noise from the alternative cubicle breaks the silence, which means that a person is there. Without hesitation, the female right away processes the stranger, and pleads for assist. She tells her call and stalks her state of affairs of being abducted. However, earlier than she may want to get a reaction from a stranger, the older guy suspects her moves of seeking to escape. The female abruptly realizes and recalls her complete dreadful kidnapping episodes during the last years. It's then found out that the female named Natasha has been captivated for decades via way of means of the older guy as her kidnapper. She constantly strives for the instant of escaping, however she most effective remembers her existence from yesterday's reminiscences. One night time, the bar's surroundings receives packed with wonderful melodies and sleek gestures. In the center of the crowd, Natasha enjoyably dances, whilst her proud dad is ingesting and chilling with the alternative adults. As the night time receives darker, Natasha convinces her dad to head home, however her dad most effective insists on persevering with the party. The following day, Natasha wakes up past due from her mother's name. Her mother then offers her the self-made get dressed she should put on for school. At first, she refuses to apply it, for the reason that most effective makes her seem bigger. But her mother instructions that she wishes it as her uniform. While consuming and preparing, Natasha gets a caution from her mother approximately becoming a member of her dad inside the bar. Her mother emphasizes that she can be able to in no way see her dad anymore if the identical state of affairs takes place once more. With this statement, Natasha disrespectfully solutions, which leads her to advantage a slap from her worried mother. Disappointed and emotional, Natasha walks out and ignores her mother's apology. With tears in her harmless eyes, Natasha walks her manor to high school alone, whilst considering the war together along with her mom. Not lengthy after, the terrifying trauma is ready to start while an older guy nicknamed Mr. Kidnapper abruptly grabs and seals the defenseless female inside the white van. The terrible season begins off evolved while Natasha's scream turns into vain inside the vehicle. Meanwhile, every other student notices the incident, however appears burdened and greatly surprised approximately the surprising event. Upon arriving inside the chambers of suffering, Mr. Kidnapper contains and brings the subconscious female to a fortified mystery room underneath his garage. Time passes. Natasha in the end opens her eyes, and realizes that she receives captive in a four-cornered room. She constantly bangs the locked door and requires assist. However, her little wish diminishes after she notices that the tiny area is windowless and soundproofed. Moments later, Mr. Kidnapper enters the name of the game room, imparting Natasha with a few beddings, meals, and water. As a reaction, Natasha expresses her unhappiness and preference to head home. She maintains banging at the door and shouting for assist, however her efforts and power get sealed in vain. On the 1/3 day of the abduction, Mr. Kidnapper attempts to discover a few books appropriate for kids. Unexpectedly, he reads and stalks the tale inside the EEE book for Natasha to be entertained. Natasha most effective behaves and eats whilst listening. When it is time to sleep, he makes a decision to go away the tiny cellar. Then, Natasha requests a goodnight time kiss, as her mom continually does. Without delay, he presents the wish and departs the tiny mystery room. Meanwhile, Natasha's own circle of relatives continuously grieves and longs for Natasha's presence. The new own circle of relatives' interest is getting updates, and paying attention to the TV information. On the alternative hand, Natasha prefers to pleasure inside the inescapable state of affairs via way of means of unique herself. The following day, Mr. Kidnapper welcomes his personal mom, who hardly ever visits the residence. Little does his mom realize that he has been hiding in Final Mystery. They watch TV, witnessing the information approximately the lacking female in town. With such confidence, he pretends to be harmless and clueless approximately the crime. Subsequently, Mr. Kidnapper is going to the name of the game room to test on Natasha. As a signal of chronic courage, Natasha creates a letter for her own circle of relatives, and fingers it to Mr. Kidnapper. Then, Natasha shampoos her hair, and attempts to talk approximately going lower back to her own circle of relatives. He strongly affirms and brainwashes Natasha that no person wishes her lower back. The anxiety arises while he receives angry via way of means of Natasha's cry, main him to punish and drown Natasha numerous instances earlier than leaving. He then is going upstairs, and locks the name of the game room with many barriers. One sunny day, Mr. Kidnapper's grandmother and mom go to him in his residence. The second fact nearly exists, while cops do a short research and interrogation. He hopefully denies, fabricates lies, and opens the van without a pointers of the abduction. He efficiently conceals the fact after answering all of the cops' questions. With darkness illuminating the tiny area of the room, Natasha cannot assist, however most effective remembers the best antique days together along with her own circle of relatives. She reminisces approximately the times while happiness is the most effective rhythm. Afterward, Mr. Kidnapper arrives once more, bringing her a few meals to eat. Having a strong coronary heart with inside the chaos, Natasha asks for a clock, as no ray of light seems with inside the room. She additionally asks approximately the letter, and if her mother and father get hold of the message. As this takes place, Mr. Kidnapper lies approximately the letter, and ignores Natasha's questions. He additionally set up a tool with inside the room that he may want to use to speak and listen Natasha upstairs. Natasha has no concept that the letter for her mother and father most effective receives destroyed via way of means of Mr. Kidnapper. On the 183rd day in captivity, Natasha receives used to her unlucky destiny via way of means of diverting the state of affairs into something delightful. She imagines and acts like a teacher, as though a few college students are paying attention to her. She even attracts matters and figures to the aircraft partitions to amuse herself. Also, she even pretends to be in an interview, in which she solutions questions on overpowering her kidnapper. Unexpectedly, Mr. Kidnapper overhears Natasha's roleplay, and talks via a tool set up with inside the room. He orders Natasha to smooth the plate and brush her teeth. Lastly, he repetitively says and shouts the phrase, "Obey me." In the continuing crisis, Natasha proceeds with a shiny concept via way of means of the use of toothpaste and the leftover meals. She pretends to have a bruise and wound on her wrist for her to head outside. But Mr. Kidnapper figures out the tactic, and makes a decision to restrict Natasha from consuming as a punishment. Desperate for liberty, Natasha screams another time for assist, believing a person may listen her plea. Mr. Kidnapper most effective explains to her that the room is flawlessly hidden, and secretly constructed in opposition to any revelations. With no footprints of success, Natasha regularly accepts her future via way of means of distracting herself. She reads books and learns a few phrases in a day. Moments later, she speaks to the tool with inside the room, hoping that Mr. Kidnapper may want to listen her. She asks for any meals after ravenous for 4 days, however gets no answer. 4 years later, with inside the corners of hell, Natasha stays as a prisoner with inside the identical room. The tribulation remains as Natasha nevertheless stories hunger for numerous days. Learning turns into her redeeming interest to neglect about the problem. On the 1695th day, as she learns a brand new book, the purple days of her femininity arise. When Mr. Kidnapper discovers that Natasha is having a length of womanhood, he receives disgusted and orders Natasha to smooth the mess. On the contrary, Natasha courageously shows that she should bathe with inside the toilet instead. Unexpectedly, Natasha's attraction to get upstairs has been fulfilled this time. Seeing the steps makes Natasha cry, as this is the primary time once more she will include the rays of light. Meanwhile, Mr. Kidnapper imposes a danger of killing her, if she tries to make any noise or movement to escape. Upon arriving inside the toilet, Natasha receives inquisitive about the sound of the surroundings outside. She takes her garments off, and unconsciously showcases her determined to take a bath. In a second, Mr. Kidnapper welcomes his mom once more, who maintains losing via way of means of occasionally. His mom notices a strand of hair in his coat, assuming he has a blonde girlfriend. When his mom leaves, he proceeds to reduce all of the hair of Natasha to save you the fact. The 1837th day arrives, which takes place to be the Christmas season for Natasha in a lonely place. Mr. Kidnapper visits her inside the mystery room, giving her a chunk of cake. Natasha receives amazed upon receiving a few affords from Mr. Kidnapper. She feels excited to get a Walkman and a brand new set of books. Despite the chaotic years, Natasha stays thankful even for easy gifts. The everlasting quest for freedom nevertheless is living inside the coronary heart of Natasha. She wonders approximately her own circle of relatives throughout Christmas. But Mr. Kidnapper most effective insists that he's the brand new own circle of relatives or even adjustments her call. In line with Christmas Eve, Natasha's actual own circle of relatives nevertheless suffers the identical ache for years for the lacking female. One morning, Mr. Kidnapper fixes a part of his residence with Natasha's assist. Shortly, he calls for Natasha to cast off her shirt, as there's no factor in having a get dressed indoors. She takes her garments off as a naive and obedient female, flaunting her harmless melons. When Natasha asks if he has a girlfriend, he receives angry, trying to strike her with a hammer. Filled with dusks and sands everywhere in the frame, Natasha asks to take a bathe. Witnessing Natasha's heavenly shape, Mr. Kidnapper receives mesmerized, and orders Natasha to sleep beside him upstairs the subsequent night time. The night time has come while Natasha wishes to sleep beside Mr. Kidnapper. With most effective obedience because the key, Natasha willingly accepts her in no way finishing cycle of depression. He grabs a cable tie, and connects his left arm to Natasha's proper arm. This manner, Natasha will now no longer have a risk to escape, and they'll have a higher cuddle function in bed. The decided female begins off evolved to advantage the accept as true with of Mr. Kidnapper. He continually behaves and obeys to keep away from Mr. Kidnapper's temper adjustments. But nevertheless, she receives imprisoned without end in a tiny area mystery room. Consequently, Mr. Kidnapper attempts to relax, and makes her nighttime incredible via way of means of going to the mall and the bar. Driven via way of means of enjoyable performances, he joins the crowd, freeing his sleek actions. While a random woman seductively dances with him, Mr. Kidnapper abruptly stops and makes a decision to hurry home. When Mr. Kidnapper arrives home, he right away calls and orders Natasha to sleep once more with him. He receives a cable tie once more, binding his proper hand to Natasha's left hand. This manner, he can flex his manly manifestations and worldly dreams closer to Natasha. The susceptible female receives undressed together along with her mountains found out. As they lay in bed, Mr. Kidnapper desires to climb her mountains. Natasha tries to refuse, however his power dominates for the erotic plan to commence. He then takes his hormone bag, and embarks on an onerous adventure to climb the grassy mountains. 2 minutes later, they finish, and Natasha expresses her preference to visit the lawn, and to her surprise, Mr. Kidnapper agrees. As they each tour the lawn packed with deafening silence, Natasha utters phrases that insult him. Then, she receives dragged lower back to her tiny mystery room. She additionally chooses to cope with it positively, via way of means of dancing and distracting herself from the seeming misery. The day after being an erotic enslaved person, Natasha turns into a servant who wishes to do difficult hard work for Mr. Kidnapper. She prepares meals together along with her frame half naked. She even receives punished for a tiny mistake, and receives disadvantaged of any quantity of meals. However, she nevertheless imagines the day in which freedom revisits her international. When she sees the meals at the table, she breaks the guideline of thumb via way of means of grabbing and consuming it. But he's too strong, preventing and bringing her lower back to the name of the game room. The menacing sorrow resumes while Mr. Kidnapper instructions her to head down, and alternate the clear out of their water pipes. Natasha has no preference however to obey. As she is going deeper into the tiny tube, the merciless Mr. Kidnapper closes the hollow mercilessly. Natasha screams amid the darkness and receives launched after some moments. This time, Natasha's staying power runs out, and he or she starts off evolved throwing punches at his face. The following day, Mr. Kidnapper receives kushti with Natasha, 11 though there are nevertheless seasons of unpredictable brutality. He listens and presents Natasha's preference for her hair. He even offers Natasha a brand new pair of denims and a shirt, earlier than they visit the mall. As they tour to a store, Mr. Kidnapper emphasizes that he is prepared to kill anybody if Natasha chooses to escape. Meanwhile, Natasha is astonished to peer the sector once more. She nearly confronts a stranger, however the voice of Mr. Kidnapper exists in her mind. When they go back home, Natasha feels disenchanted, approximately dropping a big opportunity. But she in no way loses wish as she endeavors to act consistent with Mr. Kidnapper's liking. She acts pleased as they restore the room, and pretends to be joyous for each present. One shiny day, Mr. Kidnapper's mom can pay a go to once more, because of this that Natasha is with inside the mystery room once more. There, Natasha hears the information approximately her lacking, which brings lower back her motivation to survive. When the room is prepared, Mr. Kidnapper orders Natasha to sleep with him. With a cable tie bundled, Natasha will face every other depression once more. She asks him why he selected her because the victim. Mr. Kidnapper famous that abducting her is explicitly the plan. He states that he fell in love with the smile, which leads him to construct the name of the game room for numerous months. He constantly examines Natasha till the instant of abduction. Afterward, Mr. Kidnapper actions once more, beginning to plow her grassy farmland. With most of these negative circumstances, Natasha receives worn out and attempts to stop her existence. She grabs a tissue, and places it on a range to create a cloud of smoke. But with inside the center, she chooses to prevent it, and redeem her existence instead. Natasha endures numerous punches and strokes once more, while Mr. Kidnapper figures out her suicide try due to the smell. After the punishment, Natasha writes all her stories, signifying a glimpse of the possibility. The day of the snowboarding experience comes, and Mr. Kidnapper consists of Natasha with inside the stated activity. She is having a difficult time and is guarded via way of means of the kidnapper. When Natasha wishes to visit the toilet, he examines the room first to make certain that no person is in there. The terrible reminiscences from the beyond subsequently resume with inside the present. When Natasha asks the stranger for assist with inside the toilet, her risk of survival fades as Natasha can't communicate English. Mr. Kidnapper outrages as he believes Natasha communicates with the stranger with inside the toilet. The brutality emerges while he beats Natasha once more, imparting her bruises. Natasha's 18th birthday processes, so Mr. Kidnapper awards her with a cake and a brand new get dressed. He instructs Natasha to put on the gift, so he can dance together along with her. While trimming the leaves with inside the lawn, a neighbor notices each of them. But Natasha is forbidden via way of means of him from speak me. As a result, Natasha blames herself for doing not anything approximately the sooner risk. One sunny afternoon, Natasha prepares meals for each of them. Seconds later, he stalks the plan of promoting the ban, because of this that Natasha wishes to smooth it as quickly as possible. While Natasha vacuums each nook of the car, she glances at an unlocked gate, which triggers her religion in redemption. When Mr. Kidnapper hugs and guards Natasha, a telesale smartphone call rings, which distracts his attention. While he is speak me at the telesale smartphone with the buyer, Natasha brings lower back her maximum hopes, and is keen to go back to her international. She quickly runs far from hell, and untiringly seeks assist. The healing of her existence starts off evolved upon seeing an older woman, who subsequently contacts the cops. She then utters her complete call while the cops arrive. The film ends with Mr. Kidnapper, who loses his power to go away, and ends his personal existence via way of means of going through and coming near train. On the 3096th day, Natasha in the end achieves her international and existence once more after the horrifying years in captivity. She meets her mother and father on the station, prepared to construct a brand new beginning. Indeed, the film depicts determined methods of defining and shaping existence, a true tale movie of survival after a horrendous trauma of 3096 days. And the end. If you are a lover of similar content like this, take a look at my various videos, and if you love it, please burst the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash the notification horn. Take sight of you in the next video.